And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God made a farmer.
Howdy folks, I'm Darren. Welcome to the Chronicles here at Cross Timbers Farm. Glad to have you with us on this cold January day. 10 degrees this morning when I got up at 6 a.m. It's about noon now and it's still only about 15 degrees. Arctic blast is here. It is so cold. I seen a Democrat with his hands in his own pockets this morning. All right, we're in the shop. Too cold to be outside. We're working on our Stihl 026, our project saw. It was my dad's. Went to the Stihl dealership the other day and picked up a few little miscellaneous parts that I needed to get this saw hopefully running. Now, this saw's been sitting for 8+ years. And this saw was probably, I've not looked up the serial number or nothing on it, but this saw, knowing the history of it, it was probably purchased in the late 80s. 1988, 89, somewhere in that area. It was ran pretty regularly until about 12 years, 13 years ago. Then it was only ran sporadically for a few years. Then about 8 years on to now, it's just sit. And it's got some issues, and I've been working on them. I've got my spark plug wire terminal fixed and some other things fixed. I've got it semi cleaned up. This morning I've had the muffler off and cleaned some carbon buildup out of that muffler and different things. Now I want to see if this saw's just going to run. If it will run, then I'll know what I'm going to have to do from this point on. It may need a whole rebuild. It may just need a carb kit. I don't know. I really don't know what it's going to need until I can see if it runs a little bit and just see. I know it's got good compression and all that, so I see no reason why I can't get this saw running. I don't think it's a lost cause. These little Stihl 026s, for the size of that saw, for a 50cc saw, is unreal in weight to power ratio. These things are what put Stihl on the map. So let's continue putting some of this back together, and I just want to see if it's going to start and run. Okay, we have our recoil starter back on. Now let's put the shrouds and all back on, and we're going to see if this thing might start. Alright, no bar on it, it's just the power head. Let's, I don't want to run this thing in my shop, so let's go outside. I dread it because it's 15 degrees out, but let's just step outside, see if it'll start. Here we go, moment of truth. Hey. I turned it off accidentally. Okay, definitely some issues with it idling. Cold day here in the shop. Got my buddy heater running. Man, that thing is fantastic. We're back here in the shop and I am so excited this saw's running, that I've got it running. Okay, it's still got some issues, but you know, I adjusted the carburetor quickly outside and it seemed to calm down. Some of these older saws, I know from running some of them in the past, when you first start them, they'll rev higher and they sit and idle higher, and then they'll almost want to die. And you get that saw warmed up and get the carburetor warmed up, and it levels out, so to speak. Let it calm down, that's what I call it. And it seemed to calm down pretty good. But that's yet to be seen till we put this thing under a load, cutting some wood. And I'm ready to put the bar and chain on it and take this thing to a log and just see what it does. Our chain is a full chisel steel chain. Paint's wore off the bar. It's okay, the bar's still in good shape, good straight. It's got a really good chain on it. It is a yellow chain, a full chisel. And I like a full chisel chain. I actually like them a little better than a semi-chisel. I do have a semi-chisel on my little limb saw, my MS-170. And I'll always probably keep a semi-chisel on that one because you're cutting little bitty pieces of limbs, brush, slashing with it. My MS-1290 has a semi-chisel on it, and I wished it didn't. But at the time when I bought that chain, that's the only thing I could find. Every local dealer I went to, all they had was the green chains. And I wanted a yellow chain, or a full chisel for that 290, but I couldn't find one, so I did put a semi-chisel on it, a green chain, and that's what it has. This one has the full chisel, and my dad liked the same kind of chains I do, apparently. I'm gonna touch it up right quick. It does still look pretty sharp, and this chain's in really good shape. But I'm gonna touch the chain up, and hopefully, I don't know if we're gonna brave the cold and go to the woods to cut a little bit with it or not, to just see what it does. When this saw gets under a load and I get it buried into some good red oak or white oak, it may just bog out and won't run. I don't know. That's what this is all for, an experiment to see what I'm gonna have to do from here going forward. It's an old saw, so it's not going to look brand new. This thing actually bounced across the pavement on the highway at an intersection one time. So it is what it is. But the nostalgia and what this saw means to me, to get it running and to be able to use it, hey, it's worth the price of a new saw or the price of 2 or 3 new saws. So, some people don't like using these file guides, and I like them. It keeps me on the right angle. I have a tendency to veer off if I'm not careful. Make sure we have the saw sharpened, cleaned, running. How well it's running, that's yet to be determined. A sharp full chisel chain on it. You may risk the weather and bundle up and get on the Honda Foreman and strap the saw to the four-wheeler and go down to the woods and sink this bar into a piece of red oak or white oak and just see what the saw says. Okay, folks, it's about 18 degrees out here and breezy. It is cold, cold. I'd say the wind chill's about 5 degrees. I ain't staying out here long. Got our 026, big piece of white oak. Let's see what this saw does under a load. That's where I'm curious. Didn't bring my screwdriver with me. Okay, it's struggling a little bit under full load. But boy, does this thing cut. All right, needs a little work. Carburetor needs adjusted. Some things need tuned on it. Thanks for being with us today here on the farm on this frigid day. Goodness gracious, it is cold. 026s are running. Brings back a lot of memories. But for now, it's running. It needs some carburetor work, I can tell. It's out of adjustment, and I come down here to the woods and forgot my little screwdriver to make adjustments to the carburetor, the idle adjustment and the high RPM adjustment. to adjust it some. And that may not end the problem. It may need a carb kit, but thanks for being with us. I really appreciate it, and I pray God blesses you and your family. Hope y'all have a fantastic day. Wow, let's go get in somewhere where it's warm.